Hi, welcome to the Mind Behind a Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Sawi Jasmine, and I just want to say thank you for spending the next 30 minutes or so with me together, wherever you are on this planet. If ever you like this podcast, you can like, comment, or subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Wherever you find this podcast, you can follow on socials, like, comment on Instagram and TikTok. You can also follow me personally to see everything I am up to. Now, let's start this beautiful episode. So today on the Mind Behind a Mindset podcast, we are talking about anxiety. And I think it's such a good idea to do this episode about anxiety because I've been anxious for the past 2 weeks, like really anxious to the point where I have panic attacks in my sleep. That's a whole other subject, but yeah, I am someone who's really anxious. Often I feel it's because of not only all the trauma that has happened, but often it's because I feel like the weight of my own world, so not everybody's world, but really my own world, is often on my shoulder. I feel like I have a lot of pressure from everybody, but at the same time, not really, because most of this pressure comes from my perspective. I just want to be able to be a good friend, a good sister, a good daughter, just a good employee, a good dreamer, whatever I need to be to just be a good person. And it's often takes a toll because I don't want to be letting down anybody, but at the same time, I don't want to be letting down myself. And I am my own critic. It is so difficult sometimes to just realize that anxiety it's not bad. It's not all bad, it's just anxiety. And it's gonna go because it's an emotion, and the emotions last, 90 seconds? And if you still have it afterwards, it's because you are fueling it. And often anxiety for me is like this weird ball of energy that just presses on my heart, and that just makes my whole body really heavy and really intense. And it's so difficult sometimes to just let it go, but at the same time it's hard because I have to be able to identify why I'm being so anxious, and then I have to start thinking about, okay, is it work? Is it my friends? Is it my family? Is it me? Am I now, all the ladies that are listening, I did realize that often my anxiety peaks when I'm closer to being on my periods, which is totally normal, it's hormones. But often I'm like, am I close to being on my periods? Like, do I need to go train? Do I need to do something to just let it all out? And that is often like the hardest thing. And I'm like, okay, anxiety, why are you here? What can I do? What can I do to like just calm you and soothe you as much as I can? Because when I have anxiety, I can't do anything. I just can't start working because I'm stressing more about the future than being present in the present moment, and that's not what I am supposed to be doing. And often anxiety is just so present, and it's just heavy, and then it drains a lot of my energy, which I would rather be putting this energy somewhere else. And I can't be doing that because all my energy is heading towards my anxiety, and that's the saddest part of it all. That's what I think. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, anxiety is a good warning sign to just let me know where I have to be working, what I have to put a little bit more attention somewhere. So the past 2 weeks, I've been really anxious because I'm going on a trip, and I want to be able to do a lot of things. I want to make sure everything is set up because I don't want my trip to just bring me behind everything on all my projects. I want to make sure that everything is also good. I want to be able to show my family, because I'm going for a trip to go see my family. I want to be able to like show everything to my family and be proud. And it's giving me a lot of anxiety, yet no one is asking me to do this, but I know that's what I would want, and I would be able to enjoy the present moment when I'm gonna be there. And it's often because I'm living so far ahead, so far down the future, that I'm having this anxiety. It's like for example, if I'm crushing on someone, often I get this anxiety of just trying to be like, oh, I don't want to mess it up, because if I mess it up, then all my chances are ruined. But at the same time, I'm like, you're just seeing all the futures, and you're not there. I'm not there. I'm at the present moment. I just have to do one step before like the other one, and just go and talk and just try to be friends, and then everything that goes with it. And this is purely anxiety, because I try to live in the future and less in the present, because often when I live in the present, I forget about the future, and then I'm just doing my things the way I want it to be doing. And that's the best of the best. It's being able to be here and to do it, and to know and to trust that whatever's gonna happen and is supposed to happen will happen, because I can't control the future. I can write my own destiny. I can write my own ideas. I can follow my visions. But yet the future will happen a certain way, and I can't really control it. I can't try to go at the gym at a certain time to be able to see the gym crush. I can't dress a certain way to make sure somebody sees me if I don't even know if that person's gonna be there. Like all those little things. I can't be stressing about a clip that I'm creating because I want to make sure it's good for the public, but yet I don't even know if my clip is good for me. So being anxious often just eats me away, and I forget who I am, because I'm just thinking about the future and what I can do for that, and I'm not here. I'm not enjoying the present. And if I'm always living in the future when the future is not guaranteed, how am I supposed to enjoy now? And I'm not someone who wants to live with regrets. I'm not someone who wants to just be sad on my, like, I don't want to live with regrets. I don't want to regret any of my actions. I'm not regretting any of my action at the moment, but if I am, it would just eat me away, and that's not something I want to be doing. So I'm trying to live a little bit more in the present and just trusting the process, because there's a solution for every problem. You just have to think about it. And it's also trials and errors, and I'm here to experience life and living, and it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the way I imagine it all the time. Opportunities are going to come and others are going to leave. Doors are going to open one way and others are going to be closing. And my path at some point is going to have some things blocking the way, but I'm still going to be able to get through. It's just trusting that I can do it, and trusting that there's a reason, or there's something that's going to happen out of it that is good, that is helpful, that is healthy, that is experiencing life. And often anxiety makes me forget about it, and I get into my head and I start overthinking about all the possibilities, and I can be spending hours and hours, and I can have anxiety attacks and just completely sitting in a corner crying myself away, because I just can't stop thinking, and it just spirals down. And it's at that moment often that when I'm brought back to the present, that I'm just so exhausted, and then afterwards I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep and just rest and be able to just, okay, I can do this another day. I can get through it. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to spend a lot of my days without being always super anxious and always super down or anything. I'm so happy and so grateful that I can get myself back up, and I created the tools for myself. When I started having a lot of anxiety, I got myself a dog, a zoo therapy that I train all by myself, and this dog is amazing. Raja is my partner. This dog can tell when I'm starting to be anxious. He knows me. He just knows what he needs to do, and he's just perfect for that. I also have a lot of my friends that are just there to support me when they know that I'm being anxious. They talk you through and they help me remind that everything's gonna be okay and I got this. And I always find a solution. I never disappoint for that. I know I'm gonna get myself out of any situation, but when I'm having anxiety, I just can't think about solutions. I just can't think about anything except being anxious. And then I often remember that an emotion only lasts 90 seconds. And then that's you fueling it. Or often when I'm having those anxiety and I'm in a public place, so I can't go and crawl up against a wall and just cry and scream and just hope that it's gonna pass. I can't do that when I'm in a public space. So often I just remember that I'm this little being on a little planet in the middle of an empty space. I am basically the dust of the dust of the dust. And often that just soothes, because I realize that I don't need to take myself that seriously. I could just be, and often it helps, and it helps to remember that the fate of my world is not on my shoulders. It's everywhere. It's everywhere around me. It's not just me. I have to take care of myself. I have to take care of my dog. I have to take care of the people around me. But I can't do that if I'm not okay, if I'm not in the right mindset, if my head's not in the game. And that's often the hardest thing. And at the same time, I'm like, you know what? It's normal. Nobody's perfect. I'm not a goddess. I am not this untouchable human. I am a human being. I'm not a superhero. It feels nice to know that I'm going to be doing mistakes, that I can sometimes be too anxious and sometimes I cannot do everything, but it feels good to know that I'm going to be okay and I got myself. But anxiety is always there in the back of my mind when I'm overthinking situations or when things don't go the way I planned. Oh, the anxiety just peaks. The most beautiful example is that the episode you are currently listening to, it's been the 10th time I've been recording it. Not that I didn't like the first one, it's because my studio just wasn't working. And then I was like, okay, I can't do this. And it messed up my entire first day because today was not the day I was supposed to film it. And it just gave me a lot of anxiety because it pushed all my schedule. I just was so anxious and stressed because now I couldn't do what I needed to be done. And while I am filming currently this episode, my whole system crashed. And I just looked at it and I went, you know what? I'm gonna just continue because I am tired of trying to redo the same episode about anxiety. This episode is giving me anxiety, so might as well just let go of it all and all of this control and just do it. So gratefully, I'm happy that my phone did not die on me or that something is not crashing other than my studio and my mic and everything else. I'll figure something out. Because I always do, because I always have to, because that is life, trials and errors. I have no idea why my studio keeps crashing, but hey, I'm here doing what feels good for me, and it's clearing my mind and finally doing and taking actions towards something that is giving me anxiety. If you are having anxiety, find what is giving you this anxiety, find a source, let it go. Take knowledge of it. Just take a 2 second, figure it out. Find what you need to do. Listen to your anxiety for 2 seconds. Not listening to the point of like, let yourself just drown into all the stress. Just listen. It's going to be repeating these scenarios that keep happening in loops and that are just telling you, are pinpointing what you're not feeling, what you're trying to suppress, or what you're trying to just not think about and running away from. And when you decide to address it, you'll see that your anxiety often just leaves, and just because it did what it had to do, and it was to let you know that it was there, that something was wrong. And when you do that, it just feels nice afterwards to just acknowledge it. You have this clear mind of, okay, this is what's giving me anxiety. I need to figure out what I have to do. And often when you figure out what you have to do, you have to take actions. If you don't take actions afterwards, the anxiety will come back because you haven't taken any action. You haven't changed the situation. You haven't taken control of your situation. You just took knowledge of it and did nothing. And that's often when anxiety comes back. I'm having anxiety because, right, I live in Canada and we're in November. So that means we're at the end of November. December is Sunday. So that means snow is coming, and I've been taking my time for putting my winter tires. So I'm having anxiety because today it was snowing and I didn't have my winter tires, and I needed my car. So I'm having anxiety. So I know that tomorrow I will be changing my tires because I'm not going to be dealing with this. I know that there's so many things I want to be able to do before I leave. So I'm not going to be jumping into new activities or seeing all my friends because I need to do this, because I can't sleep comfortably at night because I am so anxious that if I'm going to be done my projects in time. And I know I am the one who is placing those deadlines upon myself, but yet I need to respect those. I have obligation. For me, I owe myself this amount of respect that if I know this is what I want to do, then I'm going to do it. And that's how I'm going to do it. Oh, anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. But at the same time, I know sometimes you can't address it. Often I get anxiety when I'm at work, when a situation is a little bit too stressful and I don't know what to do with it. Often it's this anxiety that just creeps and I try to let it go, and often I can't. And I'm someone who if I'm not feeling okay at work, it's rare that I'm gonna leave. Normally when I don't feel good, I'm just gonna go through it and continue whatever I'm doing. Like at this moment, I am currently having anxiety because my studio is not working and I don't know what I'm gonna be doing with this episode, but I know at least I have a video of it. So I know it's somewhere someone can listen to it. I'm having a lot of anxiety because I don't know what I'm gonna do and I don't know the system and it's not working. But I'm trusting that I'm gonna figure it out. Same as when I have a situation at work and I'm having anxiety, I know I'm gonna be okay. And yet there's some people that just by hearing their voices, my mind just clears. And to those people, I just want to say thank you. And I find that having a support system helps when you have anxiety. Like I said previously, my friends are really good for that. But if you don't tell your friends that you have anxiety, how are they supposed to help you? And often I'm someone who supports a lot of my friends. Like I said, I don't want to be a bad friend. So they know when I'm having anxiety, they help because they know that when they're not feeling okay, I will be there for them. And when I need help, I help myself also. I use my breathing techniques, or I have this little anxiety ring. Oh my God, that thing suits me at work. It is so... It helps a lot, and work has a lot of sounds, and it's a lot of energies, it's a lot of training, and I get myself back on track. And another thing that brings a lot of my anxiety, I don't know if it does it to you, but it's new. It's when something is new. when I don't know, when I have no idea, something's new, oh, it gives me the goosies. It gives me the goosies to the point where I'm gonna be running away from it. Because I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I am scared of what can happen because I have no idea. And even if I try to think about a possible future, I know it's not gonna be it because I don't know all the variables of the situation. So I can't imagine an outcome, a viable outcome. And that gives me anxiety to another scale. And then it's just all about letting go and trusting and believing and being optimistic. And when you're having anxiety and my head is in a corner and I'm just on the ground in like a little just curled up on my own body and crying, I am not being optimistic. But I have to feel those emotions. I can't suppress them, because if I suppress them, they're gonna come back 10 times worse. I bet you know what I'm talking about. Even if it's not anxiety, even if it's anger, sadness, when you suppress them and you just bottle them up, when they come up, they're just exploding. And that's exactly what happens with anxiety. And that's not something I want. That's not something I think you want. And we don't deserve to do all of that. We deserve to live. And we deserve to just let it be. But it is so hard when we know there's so many things that can happen that are out of our control. And it is so hard because we have obligations. I have to pay the rent. I have to eat. I have to be there. I have to breathe. I have to drink. I have to whatever. And often all those obligations, sometimes they're so heavy. And just trying to not crumble under it and takes all of your energy. And that is so hard. And sometimes those days are so hard. And you're trying to tell yourself that it's gonna be okay, that everything's gonna be okay. You got this. And the words are not doing it. And then the anxiety creeps up and it doesn't stop. And then you start believing and changing how you talk to yourself. And you're like, oh, I'm not this good person, I'm not productive, I'm not a good friend, I'm not a good son, I'm not a good daughter, whatever. And then this mindset just switch and flips on you. And weirdly, everything is turning gray when everything is supposed to be light and peaceful and pink or whatever. Oh, anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. It's sometimes hard to just acknowledge that we have those things that bring us down. And when you acknowledge them, it's hard to fight them. I always say I have to fight my own demons. We all have little demons. We all have little traumas. And sometimes some are harder to fight off than others. And we're gonna go away at some point. We're gonna defeat them at some point. We're gonna succeed and they're not gonna be there. And some of them, they're always gonna be creeping out. And I acknowledge that. I know I haven't been feeling that much anxiety in a really long time. And it's intense. I felt like I wasn't gonna feel anxiety anymore, and that was me being delusional. Anxiety is always gonna be there for me, and I know it, and I don't know if it's always gonna be there for you. But I found tools, I found help, I found support. I built a support system that works for me. And that's the most important. So I know when I feel it, that I have to listen, that I have to think and acknowledge and let go of the control, the sense of control I think I have on this planet or on my life. Because nobody has full control. I have control of my own actions, but often I just react. So I just think that everything's gonna be okay. And I let it go. And it goes up and down because it's life. We get ups, we get downs, we just get back up. And that's the most important. Whew, that one was a heavy episode. I am totally grateful that you've been here. Anxiety. Something I hope we'll be able to discuss again. And I will have this better sense of, I was gonna say control, better sense of control, but yet I just said I had to let go of control. Whatever. I just hope that I'll be able to bring you more information or maybe tips or tricks to help you with your anxiety. We got this. Wherever we are, wherever you are on this planet, you got this. Whatever you are going through, you got this. You'll be okay. You'll come out of it the way you're supposed to go. Just get back up. On this note, I hope you enjoy your day. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Whew. See you next episode. Don't forget to enjoy the present moment.